Hello everyone, this is Darren at GNB Productions, and today we are going to be looking at the 2019 Child's Play remake. Yeah, I'm going to be like 110% honest with y'all. When I initially started this little marathon, I legit forgot that this movie was a thing that even happened. This movie was announced, I think, a couple months after Don Mancini announced that he was working on a Chucky TV series, which a lot of fans, including Mancini, felt was pretty ill-faced. Like, why announce a random-ass remake literally nobody asked for while the OG series is still ongoing? But that aside, on the lead up to this movie, I was a bit more optimistic than most others were. They revealed they were stepping away from the Voodoo and Charles Lee Ray stuff and went for a more artificial intelligent killer robot doll instead. I understand many not being on board with something like this, but I really tend to have more respect for remakes that stray off and do their own thing, rather than try to do the same as the original, but worse. So, how did it fare? Yeah, I think it was pretty good. It's sure as hell a lot better than it has any right to be. The story isn't really anything special, since it is a remake. It for the most part follows a little bit of the OG story, except instead of the doll being possessed, one of the overworked staff flipped on the old evil switch before committing self-deletion. The movie in general I feel is a bit awkwardly paced. I think it was said that this movie was completed in about 6 months, and if that truly is the case, boy does it show. Story beats and such are executed pretty quickly, and most don't get proper time to develop or even resolve a few things. But I feel the main thing that shines in this movie are the characters and their relationships, and that's where the main amount of enjoyment you'll probably get is from. This movie kind of proves my notion that you can have a pretty generic and bland story, but if you have a bunch of really enjoyable characters, it can naturally play out and be pretty enjoyable. Andy Barclay is played pretty well by Gabriel Bateman. As far as giving us a teenage Andy, I like him way more than the one in Child's Play 3. You can really get behind some of the emotion he brings in, and overall does a pretty decent job. I do not like Aubrey Plaza as Karen, though. She doesn't match Catherine Hicks, and she doesn't really put in any performance to make it feel like she's not just playing herself. But on the other hand, I can get behind her relationship with Andy. The two do have really good chemistry and play off of each other very well. As well as Mike Norris, played by Brian Tyree Henry. Despite being a bit of a meh character overall, I think I like how they do his relationship with the Barclays in this movie way more over the original. Andy's friends all kind of suck ass, though. This is around the time when a bunch of films tried to tap into the kid-centric horror hype from Stranger Things and the It remakes, and it just does not work. Pug and Fallon are as cookie-cutter as they come, and the random addition of that random black kid whose name I forgot just did not feel necessary at all. But what I gotta say is, at the heart of this movie, in terms of its characters, are without a doubt Andy and Chucky. Firstly, Chucky in this movie is voiced by Mark Hamill, and do I even need to bring up how cool that is? He plays it with a lot more calmness, which works really well in making him super likable. Yeah, they made Chucky likable in that you genuinely care about him throughout the film. It mainly works because of how they make him super impressionable and only becomes super violent when seeing the world around him, which makes it super sad when Andy has to do away with him. But Hamill also did a top-notch job at making this Chucky creepy as hell, which goes hand in hand with its really uncanny and straight-up ugly design. They just really did a good job at making the relationship between these two feel genuine, and I feel if they didn't, the movie would have sucked way more because of it. As far as the scares in this horror movie goes, I think this movie does a pretty good job with the horror elements. There's just a lot of blatant mindfuckery that takes place in the movie, like Chucky playing the audio of him killing Andy's cat, or displaying Karen's dead boyfriend on the TV screen. It's not directly piss-your-pants terrifying, but it does leave an impression. Practical and visual effects are all pretty good as well. The CG is a bit iffy, but it is used pretty sparingly, so it's not like it's plagued in the film. The kills are all pretty decent as well, but the scene that was kinda hyped up, that being the store massacre, could have been handled a bit better in my opinion. I don't know if there's any more that I can really say. The movie isn't good, but it's not terrible either. The story is fairly basic, but has a bunch of enjoyable characters, pretty good performances, visual and practical effects are all pretty on point, and as a remake overall, I'd say it's pretty good. It could have been a hell of a lot worse, and I really wouldn't be upset if a sequel were to be made. Anyway, if you agree or disagree with anything I've said in this video, let me know right down there in the comments below. Also be sure to like and subscribe. This is Darren at GNB Productions, and take care.